Welcome to MLB Roundup, your source for the hottest baseball news, brought to you by DoublePlayTV. Roger Clemens continued his tour of Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. His 2008 I Didn't Do It and Pettit Misremembered campaign hit full stride when he and Brian McNamee sat together in front of Congress. For more on this story, we have Will Carroll, our field correspondent from Baseball Prospectus. What's the latest, Will?
Thanks, Stephanie. You know, as we take a look back at the Roger Clemens hearing, Clemens versus McNamee, two men enter, one man leaves, we didn't get that kind of drama. What we got was two men in desperation. Brian McNamee trying to find his soul, and Roger Clemens hoping for a second chance. Instead, we got theater, we got drama, and we got Andy Pettit being sainted despite admitting drug use and changing his story not once, but twice. In the end, we know what we knew going in. We know that Roger Clemens may or may not have used drugs. We know that Brian McNamee, an admitted liar, continues to admit that he's a liar. That doesn't mean he's not telling the truth in this case. The Mitchell Report remains one of the great mistakes of baseball. Not in that it was done, but in that it wasn't used to turn the page. I'm Will Carroll for MLB Roundup.
Thanks, Will. Boston Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling has got a boo-boo that just won't heal. After signing an $8 million deal, the right-hander decided that his shoulder is not good to go, and if he chooses rest and rehab over surgery, he won't be back until August. More on the Schilling injury from Ryan Wilkins.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, as we all know, the Red Sox are in quite a bind with veteran pitcher Curt Schilling. Signed to a one-year, $8 million deal in November, Schilling was notified by doctors 2 weeks ago that tearing in his right shoulder could prevent him from pitching at all in 2008. Now, Schilling denies that his shoulder is in as bad shape as doctors originally said, and according to his post on his website, 38pitches.com, he's even heard a second opinion, which was more optimistic. The Red Sox are hoping Schilling is right, though, because the defending champs are still on the hook for his contract since the deal was uninsured. Stepping back from the minutiae, however, it's important to note that it was unlikely Schilling was going to pitch 200 innings this season anyway. The 41-year-old starter made just 24 regular season appearances in 2007 and posted an adjusted strikeout rate of 6 per 9 innings, the lowest of his career since 2000. If the former Diamondback can split the difference between the early diagnosis and the alleged second opinion, nearly everyone involved could walk away happy. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Ryan. After years of half-baked rebuilding efforts, the Orioles have finally cleaned house, sending Eric Bedard packing and off to the Mariners. First Miguel Tejada, now Bedard. What could have possibly prompted Baltimore's fire sale? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that they suck? Among other embarrassments in 2007, the O's were no-hit by a rookie, gave up 30 runs to the Rangers, and ended their season 27 games back in the AL East. Either way, they have sent their best player to the Mariners for Adam Jones and a sack of used baseballs. How does this affect your fantasy roster? Lucas Ruprette has the answers.
Stephanie, there are no losers in this trade from a fantasy standpoint. Eric Bedard gets some pretty obvious help from moving to a much better team in the Mariners than the Orioles, which will help his win total. Plus, he gets to move to a better pitcher's park, which will help keep his ERA and WHIP down. The hidden benefit for Bedard is that he doesn't have to play the Red Sox and Yankees 19 times a year each. That amounts to probably 6 or 8 starts against great offenses that he gets to avoid. This moves him from probably a top 10 pitcher in fantasy to a top 3 or 4 pitcher, and he definitely deserves early round consideration. Adam Jones also gets quite a boost from this trade as he moves from partial playing time in Seattle to the full gig in Baltimore. While his batting average might hurt you, and he will have some growing pains, he's definitely worth a late round flyer. Try to have another option on hand so you don't have to start him from the beginning of the season. Stephanie?
Thanks, Lucas. Valentine's Day was last week, and there's no better place to find the sweet scent of love in the air than on the back of a city bus. For more on this story, here's Sean Keane.
Today's Valentine's Day, and on Valentine's Day, our thoughts turn to baseball and to love. Specifically to one very special lady, Debbie Clemens.
Previous years, Roger's gotten Debbie a lot of real nice things. Candy hearts, caviar.
It's always 10 diamonds, never cubic zirconium, no matter what Andy Pettit says.
Debbie, if you were my lady, I'd treat you right.
I wouldn't let any other man inject you with HGH. I'd take care of the injections myself.
When I think about you, there's a palpable mass, but it's not on my buttocks.
If you say no to me, my heart's gonna break into pieces. I'm gonna take that largest piece of that heart and throw it at Mike Piazza.
So Debbie Clemens, this year, will you be my Valentine? It's not a drop of blood that I've been saving for years in order to turn over to investigators.
It's a heart. Happy Valentine's Day, Debbie. Will you be mine?
That's all for this week's Major League Roundup. I'm Stephanie Rosa, and thanks for tuning in.